We're pulling back the curtain on the industry, talking to experts, educators, innovators, and the everyday clinicians who are out there doing the work. There's no fluff, no filter, and definitely no sales pitches disguised as education. If it's happening in dentistry, from clinical insights to regulatory curveballs, or maybe just the latest scandal at the ADA, we're already talking about it. And yes, we're bringing all the goods. It doesn't matter if you are a seasoned doc or anyone in the dental industry, you're all welcome here. Perhaps you're just a curious consumer, or maybe you just came for the banter. We welcome you all to the show because around here, we're not just in the loop, we're in the know. Hey, folks, I am Dr. Chad Duplantis. I am accompanied by my very dear friend, Dr. Jennifer Bell. Our other very dear friend, Dr. Jeff Horowitz, is not very good at updating his calendar, and he is not with us tonight. He is at the PAANY, whatever the hell it is. It's like, what the hell is that, dude? I've never heard of it before. But anyways, that's where Jeff is tonight. We're glad to be here. Tonight's sponsor of the show is Curve Dental, and we have a great guest, Dr. Eric Roman, with us tonight. But JB, how you doing?
I'm okay. I got to talk about my day. I don't know if you saw my post, but man, is there something going on with the moon that I'm unaware of?
Oh yeah, it was big time this past
Holy
weekend.
crap. Everybody was angry today. Like all of them. I had a few great patients, but the great patients are always great. The thing that catches you off guard is when, I don't know, the patients that your spidey senses have been up on for a while, and then they just flip their shit. They just go nuts. And it was like 4 of them today. It was too many.
I get it.
Too many. It started at 8:25 today, when my office manager was having a discussion with a patient, and the patient was with the mom. She has rampant decay, and every time she comes in, we find 1,000 more things. And believe me, I know you can clip this and put it on every Insta and LinkedIn and TikTok reel you want. The popular opinion is that dentists love to do fillings and we love to make money. I can't tell you how much I hate doing fillings if I have to make money that way. I would rather just quit dentistry altogether. So this really dumb idea that we diagnose fillings because we love to do fillings and we love to make money is so dumb. If you've done one filling, you would know just how freaking hard they are. And then when we find somebody who actually has like 20 cavities and we have to break the news to them, like, we're actually empathetic people and we take that really personally that we now have to break the news. So the fact that it would be implied in any way that this is a profit sharing opportunity for my team, that every class 2 that I find, everybody wins $400, wrong. So started with that, and then it just sort of kind of kept going for the day. Everybody was just sort of angry and had to be talk off ledges kind of constantly. So anyway,
I get
lots of dismissals are happening. So
I get it. Do you want me to tell you about my day?
Yeah, I would love to. I hope it was better than mine.
So it started off, I saw a few patients this morning. Wednesday afternoon, we have all 3 doctors in the office, and so we're climbing all over each other like spider monkeys. So you know what? I decided to take the afternoon off. I was on my way home and I was starving. Well, I was on my way to the golf course and I was starving.
Let's be honest.
So I took a right turn because you know what sounded really good?
Tell me.
Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A always sounds good, right?
Yeah.
So I pull into the Chick-fil-A parking lot and I'm like, oh my gosh, would you look at this? This is a Chick-fil-A with an empty drive-through line. I'm like, I'm so in. I pull in and there's no person in the drive-through line. There's a little screen that you talk to. I'm like, man, this is weird. Yeah, I wasn't at Chick-fil-A. I took the right turn instead of the left turn. I pulled into Burger King. I can't tell you the last time I've eaten at a Burger King, but at this point in time, I got another car coming in behind me.
You're in the line.
I'm in at Burger King. I'm not going to lie. The burger was really damn good. I wasn't even in the mood for a burger, but it was a damn good flame broiled burger. And I highly recommend. There's enough grease and melted cheese on that thing that I told them to keep the ketchup off, keep the mayo. I don't do mayo. Keep the because we don't have Duke's mayo.
Yeah,
keep the ketchup and the mayo off. Take the onions off. That burger was pretty damn good.
I
I'm not
actually
gonna lie.
really love a McDonald's burger or a Burger King burger and McDonald's fries. It's
It
kind of the perfect combination.
it was on point. And then I went to the golf course and I had a really good front nine. And then I had 7 pars in a row on the back nine to close the round. I shot an 82. It's a great day. So you know what?
So your body is actually meant to be fueled on BK.
I I think that
I
this is a
think
new
we've
tradition.
uncovered something.
This is a
Yeah,
new
now it's
tradition.
superstition. You have to
Yeah.
now eat Burger King before every golf round
Uh,
just so you don't screw it up. And eventually it'll prove not to be true, but until then, it's
well,
BK
the
your
guy I
way.
was playing with today, he actually is in between jobs, and so I didn't know that he was already at the course. So I get out of my car and I'm running to the trash can. And he's like, dude, what are you throwing away? I was like, dude, I went to Burger King by accident. I was throwing away the evidence. I go, this is one of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
most
yeah.
embarrassing days of my life. I don't want anybody to know that I went to BK. I don't eat fast food, but I'm not gonna lie. It was
It
good.
was good. It was
It was good.
tasty.
It was a
Well,
good.
maybe now BK will sponsor our show.
Yeah, yeah, but no, I feel your pain. Yesterday was one of those days where I feel like nothing went right. Like everything that you did was like super freaking hard.
Yeah.
Um, but hey, before we get to the show, I got to tell you another funny story.
Okay.
Where was I this weekend?
Oh, you were in Milwaukee, right?
No, Chicago.
Oh, they did it in Chicago? Last
Yeah.
time it was in Milwaukee, but you were at
So
Vista, right?
I was at the Vista Apex
Yeah.
thing a couple years ago, and I'll just go ahead and say this: Vista Apex bought Perio Protect
Mhm.
and Perio Sciences. And I was like, why are you doing this? I will tell you,
You didn't see the vision.
if you haven't been on the radar for Vista Apex for a while, start looking into what they're doing. They have some pretty freaking fantastic Perio products coming down the pipeline. And they've got, I think we're going to see more of Vista Apex on Dentist in the Know. Very, very impressed with what they're doing. And I could see the vision and I'm pumped. I think it's
That's
going to be a
cool.
great future. But why did I say I was in Chicago? Because I get home on Sunday night. And by the way, I FaceTimed Jeff Horowitz, John Fluke, Ryan Walsh, and I may or may not have had a couple of beverages
I didn't get
at
a
the
FaceTime.
bar that we were at for the stinking Sprint Ray party where we all dressed as leprechauns.
Right.
Oddly enough. Yeah, we're down there. I had total deja vu on that. We're FaceTiming Horowitz. He doesn't answer his phone. I get home on Sunday night and Ellen's like, how was Jeff? And I was like, I don't know how Jeff was. And she goes, he was in Chicago. I go, the hell he was. I was in Chicago. She goes, no, Jeff was in Chicago.
He was
We
in
were,
Chicago.
yeah, we were 2
AADSM.
blocks from one another. And when we both found out we were there, we were irritated. Neither of us had any idea that we were in Chicago together. So a lot of Jeff's friends were there, so he was very disappointed that he didn't get to see them.
Yeah.
But Fluky, Bizga, Walsh, we had a great time. Good times.
Okay, well, we have some big news. Again, last week I announced that we have our first live event. So that's
Yeah.
huge. This week I'm announcing that we just went live like 15 minutes ago.
Let
So
me know
this
when
is
you're ready.
very new. We just went
Wait,
live on
what?
Glidewell TV.
Hold on. On what? Let me show this. Hold on. I might have closed it out.
Oh, you ruined the big
Hold
moment.
on. Let's see here. Okay. Give me 2
All right,
seconds.
for our podcasting friends who only listen to us on audio anyway, we went live on Glidewell TV just this evening. What does that mean? Well, we have our own channel now on Glidewell TV. So you can access all your favorite Dentist in the Know episodes, catch your favorite guests. We're also going to be bringing in some consumer facing content as well to make sure that you never miss a moment. The other really cool thing about being on Glidewell TV is that actually a lot of people use this app in their waiting room. So now you can queue up some of your favorite podcasters and some of your favorite guests for content that you specifically want your patients to hear. Now you can have us also playing in your waiting room or in your TVs in your operatory, just kind of hang out with your favorite podcasters. So I'm really excited. We're building a lot of content. We're moving stuff over pretty actively as we speak. So that channel is going to be growing really fast. And then again, we're going to be bringing in a lot of really fun consumer facing content because Glidewell TV also has a consumer facing side. And I think actually that gets a ton of airplay. If any of you are using Glidewell TV, there's a patient centered channel specifically for content that would go really well in the waiting room. And don't worry, we're going to bring a lot of our Dinks episodes that are really relevant for patients. Just like what I just said about how dentists don't like to do class 2 composites all day long. So the last thing they want to do is find them. We'll make sure your patients hear that so they won't think you're trying to upsell them a bunch of MODFL composites. We're here for you doing the Lord's work in your waiting room. So really excited about that.
And I just want to say on that note, I'm going to throw out an announcement here prior to your news, but our good friend at Glidewell, Stephanie
Oh, I
Goddard,
saw.
she has resigned as CEO and is leaving on extremely good terms. Mr. Glidewell is a dear friend of mine, and he is not going to let that company go to somebody that he hasn't fully vetted.
Mhm.
So he has resumed the duties as CEO. And with that being said, I just want to really wish Stephanie the best in her next endeavor. I think she's going to take some me time and enjoy her two children. And she's done wonderful things for
I
Glidewell.
agree.
The
Hey,
lab's really done well over the years. So
did you hear
congrats.
Atlanta Dental just signed a deal too with Dentsply?
Did.
I mean, things are going crazy out there.
Yeah, it is crazy.
All right,
Crazy.
I'm gonna do the news because I cannot. I'm so excited about tonight's guest because he's been on the show. It's been a couple of years, but as some of you may know, Eric and I were classmates many, many moons ago, and he has quite a special place in my heart. So I'm really excited to have him on tonight. His journey is uber cool, and he just has such a great message. So
He's a stud, man. I love Eric. Love
I
me some
couldn't
Eric.
deny it. I can't
Love you,
deny it.
brother. Love
Yeah,
you. I know
get
you're
off of
watching
my
me. I love you,
friend.
brother.
He ain't your friend. He's my friend.
Oh,
All right, let's talk about the news because I feel like it's all over the place. Let's get to brass tacks first, and then we'll go to the crazy and insane patients at the end because it sort of sums up my day. All right, a couple of big new update rules that we have to be aware of. The first is a digital accessibility law that is a final ruling that came out, sort of started in 2024, but it is now official. You have until May 11th if you are a company of more than 15 employees and you're a dental office that receives any type of federal support. That would include Medicaid and children's health insurance programs. If you're a dental school or an academic dental program, if you're a clinic affiliated with a hospital or a health system, community health centers and dental services, dental specialists, and dental researchers or companies receiving any federal funding, you have to comply with this digital tools for accessibility for individuals coming to your office or clinic with disabilities. There's a whole guideline. We're not going to get into that tonight. The ADA has published a guideline to get your practice ready. If you have 15 or less employees than 15, you have 1 full year for compliance. But if you're over 15 employees, you have until May 11th of 2026. We'll link the accessibility guide below in case you are just hearing about this for the first time. You only have 5 days to comply. Maybe you can write a letter and ask for an extension because you heard it first on Dentists in the Know and had no idea it was coming, but we'll make sure we link it for you. Another update was a education department finalizes some key information on a student loan rule that will go into effect here very quickly. Some very key pieces of information that I think will very much affect dentistry and the pursuit of dental education. Number one, you will likely not be able to get full funding for a full tuition in federal loans anymore. The hope is that this will keep some kind of gate limit on how high tuitions can go for different programs because when you could just borrow for an infinite amount of money, there was no checks and balances. So a lot of this is to try to keep some of this repayment program activity in check. They're eliminating the Graduate Plus program, which could force more students to go to private loans with higher interest rates and maybe fewer borrowers will qualify. I think it's just to kind of the department is trying to keep the unchecked borrowing in control and trying to reduce some of the confusion of the different repayment options that are available in the system. They're also replacing existing income contingent repayment plans with new systems that could include a tiered standard plan and a repayment assistance plan, hopefully bringing some clarity and some transparency to these programs. So, if you're not familiar with this, if you're thinking about going into dental school and you're concerned about the loans, if you're currently in dental school and unsure how this will impact you, there is a fact sheet also published on the ADA website. We'll again link that in the description and comments below so you can get access to that for additional information. In addition, this one's really near and dear to my heart. I'm passionate about the cost of education because I think it is one of the biggest tipping points in our current life expectancy of a dentist. I think it's definitely one of the compressions in the economic landscape for dentistry. But this one in particular, as a private practicing dentist, really gets my goat, and it is the pre-medication for orthopedic patients. And there's been a lot of back and forth. Just so we're all on the same page, the orthopedic guidelines are still in line with the 2015 guidelines published by the ADA, even though the ADA has now moved on to a 2024 position paper. So that is where we are. And I think if you're a practicing dentist, you have patients all over the map. Some are requiring antibiotics for life, some are requiring 6 months, some are requiring 2 years. There's literally no standardization. There's another new, very consistent application that we're seeing from orthopedic surgeons. No dentistry of any kind, unless it's emergent, is to be performed 3 months before or 6 weeks before they go into surgery. And no, they cannot receive any dental care for 3 months after they have their orthopedic limb replacement, joint replacement, whatever. There's no scientific guideline that is making this rule. These are opinion based statements. And I will say that again. These are opinion based statements. They are not taking into account the compromising of the patient or how healthy that patient is before and after a procedure. They are treating everyone the same. And as you and I know, no patient is the same. They all bring to us unique sets of challenges and unique risk factors. So I'm really hoping that this new position paper being put out by the ADA may push the Orthopedic Association to start looking at their guidelines a little bit more closely. Because I will tell you this, it is not the risk of a dental cleaning for your joint replacement. It is the risk of unchecked oral disease that will fail any orthopedic joint replacement. Why? Because the oral cavity and oral health is the gateway to overall optimal immune activity. So when we keep that in check, those patients are vastly healthier in the long run. So we've got to find some common ground because this has been this constant dichotomy between both specialties, and we have to get on the same page because unfortunately the patient is sort of stuck in the middle. All right, last two stories. Actually, last story of the night. And this kind of goes with my day. Like, I feel like I was working in this clinic in Oregon when a lady came in and got very upset with the staff at an orthodontic office in Oregon, and then proceeded to just pull her pants down. Yep. In front of all the children, getting the little brackets changed out, their little wires tightened up. She just dropped trowel in front of them all. Ultimately, they escorted her off the property, but she did slap the orthodontist in the face on the way out the door just for fun, I guess. And then she was ultimately taken into custody. Now, this is an allegation of activity, although it seems like it'd be a hard one to make up. But this just is like a small snapshot into sometimes the crazy day in the life of working with the public. And with that, that's the news.
You know, when I was in high school, did you do Health Occupation Students of America,
I
HOSA?
did not. Did not.
Okay, so I did that, and one of my rotations, we had to become a nurse's aide and work at a nursing home. And my first day at the nursing home, I will never forget this lady's name, and she's long gone, so this is not a HIPAA violation, but her name was Flossie.
Okay.
And as I walked into the nursing home, uh, I had a soft spot for the elderly, and Flossie was sitting in a chair, and she was strapped to the chair. It was like a recliner. She had like, the the things that the physical therapist wrap around your waist. She had one around her waist and two around
Okay.
her arm. I mean, she looked like she was in the electric chair. And she goes, honey, honey. And I was like, yes. And she's like, can you help me? Can you help me? And so I walked over to Flossie's chair. I was like, what do you need, Flossie? She goes, I need to go to the bathroom. And I said, oh, I got this. So I unstrapped her and I, said, do you need help? She says, no, no, I don't. Well, Flossie stood up and dropped trow right in the middle of the nursing home living room. And that was my first experience at the nursing home where I was told to not untether the patients anymore because there is a reason that they're tethered.
Right.
Flossie
Right.
did it right there.
Yeah.
Everything. Yep. Guess who had to clean it up?
You deserved it. You untethered
Yeah.
her.
I
They
untethered
knew.
her. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
knew.
I learned
It
real
doesn't
quickly.
report that this lady did anything. She just dropped her pants. I don't know to what purpose, but she
Well,
felt like that needed to happen. So I think we should bring Eric on. He probably has a comment about that.
well, God bless Flossie too. Eric, what's up, dude?
I mean, I didn't think my first comment was going to be related to dropped pants,
Dropping pants.
Yeah. Yeah.
but I feel really at home now.
Yeah.
It's
Well, we
always
just wanna
good when
make
it
you feel
happens in a
comfortable.
dental office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Generally that's something we frown upon, but there's a time and a place for anything.
Exactly.
No, there's
Exactly.
not. No. This is a PSA. Please keep your pants on, people. Please.
True.
My staff is very sensitive.
You know,
Okay, guys.
Yo.
One of my favorite people on the planet is with us tonight. And it's not Chad, which I know is shocking to everybody. But Eric Roman, Dr. Eric Roman, and I go all the way back to 2003. Why? Because my maiden name started with an S and his maiden name starts with an R.
still
His
does.
maiden name?
Still does.
Just kidding.
Eric, you have a maiden name?
It's
I
a
married a girl
joke.
with the same last name as me. Yeah.
That didn't
Yeah.
fair. That didn't land. It's fine.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's good. You're good. Lindsay
Eric
Vaughn.
and
Great
I
landing.
started dental school together back in 2003, which is kind of hard to believe at this point.
We got up to so much trouble together, J Bell.
We really did. The stories were fun. And then to capstone it, we decided to do a residency together, which only took the stories to an exponentially higher level of idiocy. Absolute idiocy.
We're virtually related by measure of like the amount of time. Honestly, you and I spent more time together during that. We had to be married for a decade before
Yeah.
we'd spent more time with our spouses. than
Your
we did.
Sorry,
sweet wife
Brian.
did refer to me as your work wife for some period
Yeah.
of time. And,
Absolutely.
you know,
You earned it.
but you were just our resident DDSFA, and we just kept you happy and, healthy, very healthy.
Oh, I was healthy. All right.
All right. But Eric's journey was a really fun ride, actually, to watch.
Fun to watch, not as fun
It
to
was
be
fun
in.
to watch
Yeah.
as a bystander.
Spectator.
Eric, from the minute I met you, your entrepreneurial spirit, your desire to build systems, your desire to fix problems and make them better was actually palpable. It was palpable. So the fact that you built many, many practices, watch them succeed, turn into phenomenal things. But the very cool part of it is how many cool people you built in the process. Because without your guidance, your coaching, your intuitiveness, your ability to see emotions, your ability to kind of step back and assess situations and provide people perspective. I think a lot of people call you a friend, but they call you their mentor, a coach. You've really provided a phenomenal service to a lot of your colleagues. And I know other people agree with me. With that said,
I feel seen.
you are seen.
Dude, Did you see Eric's head getting bigger? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's
I won't make it out of the room today.
no.
That cost him $20. He paid me $20 to say that stuff. Without a doubt.
I'm gonna chime in before Eric says anything because I haven't known Eric nearly as long as you have, but he's the type of person that the first time you meet him, you're like, this guy's on to something. So, Eric, honored to have you here, buddy. Really honored to know you too, man.
Listen, guys, like I feel like we should just hug each other for 45 minutes and call it a day because I really, it takes one to know one, and like it's fun when
That's what she said.
Hey,
And
Chad.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure whether you said this guy's onto something or this guy's on something. One or the other.
A little bit of both,
Both are
probably.
probably true.
Hey, really quick before we get into the nitty gritty. Number one, thank you to Curve for sponsoring tonight's episode, for bringing us the infamous Dr. Eric J. Roman to talk all about dentistry. But really quick, Eric, I have to tell you something about Chad. Chad, don't get mad at me. Last week on Friday, Chad auditioned for a game show. Have you ever been on a game show, Eric?
Why, yes, I have.
I know. See, I knew you would totally dig that, Chad. You'd be like, tell me about
have you
being
been
on
on?
a game show.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Well, I'm not allowed
He has
to
no
say
idea what
I
it is. But I'm
auditioned
telling you,
for,
it's an amazing kids game show.
But let me tell you something. My audition this week, because I got called back, it didn't go so well. So we will see what
You're
happens.
spinning a wheel.
Shush.
Don't blow his cover.
Shush.
I always wanted to be on Double Dare. Anyway, let's carry on. Eric, what you been up to?
Hey, guys. Great to be here. I'm a man of many stories, aren't I, Jennifer?
Yeah, you are. But let's talk about can you give us a 36,000 foot view of, because I know you like planes as well. So just a 36,000 foot view of your journey from building some practices, moving out of direct patient care, and kind of evolving your career to where you are today and what you're working on.
Yeah, I exited ownership of practices in 2019. There's a rumor that I might be getting back into it in 2026. I can't believe I'd ever say that, but that's a different conversation for another day.
That's an offline conversation.
I've spent the last, well, I do the math, was at 6 or 7 years, like full time in like coaching and doing a bunch of other stuff. And it's been primarily group space. That's been like, I build groups. How do you listen? I can tell all the stories about the horrible things about groups. I think that groups are like a bad portion of our past and yet could be a good portion of our future if we get it right.
Interesting.
But and we can talk about that. But inside of it, it has been a real blessing. I never imagined that I would say I've coached billions in annual revenue of dental groups. I never thought I'd ever say that. I never thought I'd end up like in that life. And I just thought I was gonna be a dentist. Yeah. And like it's been 7 years since I've treated a patient outside of my kitchen treatment still happen.
Yeah, that's
but a little extraction here or there, a lip laceration. You gotta do what you gotta do. But inside of all that coaching, it's funny because coaching groups, you see a lot of failure. We see failure over and over and over again. And what we were noticing trends inside of it. And one of those trends, like there's a lot of data that says that more than half of the dentists in our country right now are associates. Some data goes so far as to say that 65% of the practices in the US have an associate in it. Either that's the dentist running it because it's owned by a group and it's an associate running the practice, or it's a private practice that has an associate. 65% is how high some of them go.
Wow.
I can't believe it. But then when you think about it, you're like, well, that actually might be right. And what we noticed is that this is called dentistry. Dentists do it. And where we're seeing the failure at the like root level is in, honestly, the associate dentists. We know that associate turnover data is astronomically high. The cost of that is incalculable. Mm-hmm. And you know what happens is they leave Jennifer, they go to Eric, they get pissed at Eric, they leave Eric and they go to Chad, and all three of us have that like failed experience. And it wasn't good for any of our patient populations. It's killing all of us. So, what I also realized is that nobody's doing anything about it. In fact, the entire DSO world right now is built around how do we generate same store sales growth? And you know what they've avoided is they're avoiding dentists because they've given up. They've spent
Yeah.
millions upon millions in trying to help dentists be more impactful and successful, and it's failed. And and so guess what? They're not associates aren't getting what they want. They're not happy because they're turning over 5, 6 times. And the people that are supposed to be taking care of them have no freaking clue what to do.
Yeah.
I like to solve problems that seem unsolvable. And so I've spent, that really was my journey. I mean, I built a group in a place that nobody wanted to live. I had to convince associates to I had to beg and plead. And so we had to build great systems and great success for them. And so it's almost like my past history is now my present. So I've spent the last year and change. I am really the only person in the industry training clinical leaders, clinical leadership teams on how to take great care and find and cultivate great dentists. And I'm training dentists because you really have to get eye to eye, or maybe our term is knee to knee with dentists, and to really understand what's going on in the mind of today's modern associate. That's my space right now.
So I think there's been a huge loss of autonomy in dentistry, but there's also been a huge loss of critical and clinical thought processes. There's been a huge we're not chasing what's right for the patient. We're chasing the almighty dollar.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't care.
It's fair to say you're justified.
But I love everything that you're saying. And, I've had in the past 2 years, I've had 2 associates, and I've got one.
Y'all know I'm a big racing fan.
Good Lord. My phone just went off. Sorry. It was
Sure did, Chad.
Tyler from Love on the Spectrum. He just decided to start talking to me. But no, we had one associate that was with us, and she only wanted 1 day a week. And so we told her, hey, we need somebody that's willing to give us more time. Would you like to do that? And she has a family. She's a wonderful human being. She was a great dentist. And she was like, no, I really only want 1 day a week. And I was like, well, I don't want 2 associates. I want 1 associate. It was a very amicable departure. And when she started, we knew that this might happen.
Yeah.
No matter how amicable it was on our end, yes, it cost us money. And if she's listening tonight, I don't want her to feel any remorse for that, because it was a decision that we made.
Yeah.
Yes, it cost us money. That's okay. But it also cost us a little bit of patience. Why are we going through dentists so quick?
Mm-hmm.
And so then we got this other associate who's been with us almost a year. She's young. She's fantastic. She's great. She gives us a few more days a week. That's exactly what we needed. It's going fantastic. But if you really, truly love your practice, that's hard for patients, for doctors, for whoever to see the change. And it doesn't mean that anybody was bad, because neither of them were. They're both fantastic. But the change costs money.
Chad, dude, it costs more money than, I call it, the biggest hidden profit leak in the entire industry.
100%. And I don't want to keep doing it.
Okay, so you lost some patients. You lost a little bit of case acceptance from some of those patients. Do you know what else you might lose after a second time? All of a sudden, your team member that's had to work with 2 different, it's like, I'm out. I'm just so tired of training associates. Who's covering then? You lose your time. What are you, when you're covering for them, what are you not doing that you were planning to do besides golf? That mattered. Chad, my numbers say that I would say an average, when you count recruiting for the next one, when you count training the next one, onboarding, credentialing, all the stuff, I think one associate turnover, I think we start at 6 figures, at $100,000 is what it actually costs our practice. And I have customers where we've calculated a turnover to be over $300,000 of cost for practice, but we don't see it. It doesn't show up.
Yeah.
You never paid a bill for that, right? You just quietly missed that money. Brother, I see you so much. It's and guys, this is happening every day, everywhere across the country.
Okay, elephant in the room. I have 2. Number one, the recruiting and identification of dental students coming through. Are we really finding the right people to do the job? Number two, do we have jobs for, like, Chad brings up a great point. I think creativity and work schedules and stuff is a much higher look, of my generation. So I'm 20 years out. Most of us were grinders. Like
Yes.
the minute I got out of school, I couldn't work enough hours to get good at this craft.
Yeah.
And that has tapered some, but not tremendously. The next generation of individuals, and actually I think they're a lot smarter than us in a lot of ways. Work-life balance and a lot of things are a lot more important. That marriage though between us that are in the gen of grinders and working really hard and like earning it and building it versus the generation that wants a little more turnkey, a little more of a different type of lifestyle when it comes to dentistry. I don't know that we've found that perfect balance between our groups.
Nope.
Jennifer, like you mentioned, it's an elephant that's in our room because there's actually two sides to this. So what do we see? Our generation, the grinders in us, we see, why are you so entitled to think you can get away with working 1 day a week when I work my butt off?
Excuse me
Like,
while I influence.
yeah. Like I know, like a selfie.
Yeah.
And so we see that. And you know, we respect that there's a generational. So by the way, all the data told us this is who they were going to be when they showed up. And
Correct.
they're actually just who the data said their generation is.
That's right.
But you know what they don't see? They don't actually understand that the life that they want with $600,000 worth of debt at 8%, they can't only work 1 day a week. Like if they work 1 day a week, they might cover their debt.
Right.
And like, so we have this strain. And then the truth is, look at us. Do you know what we still, if there's one thing I know about dentists, 98% of us are scared to talk to other dentists about truth. So we have the dentist that comes in and we're thinking, oh, I don't want to talk to you about it. But it's the elephant in the room that ends up costing us the dentist because nobody talked about this. Like, hey, can I be honest with you? Have you built like a budget to understand how this is actually going to work? Can you really survive and cover this on 1 day a week? Because I don't see the mathing, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Can I tell y'all a little story? This is a side note, but you mentioned something, and I had a very interesting conversation, and I think it's very important for some of our listeners to know. So my son, who's actually producing the show, just graduated from college, not dental school, but from college last year. And I took the law of odds, and I decided that I wanted to A, build his credit, and B, if there was going to be a freaking student loan forgiveness act, I wanted to be part of that. So I took out a minimal amount of student loans on him. So I started paying back his student loans because he's graduated. And we didn't take out much. I took out what I thought was going to be forgiven, and it hasn't been forgiven. So I'm paying him back, but it's building his credit, right? So I started paying more than his, monthly payment. And yes, Austin, I will still pay for your student loans. It was dad's mistake, not yours. Okay. Wanted him to hear that. Do you know that when these kids start paying back their student loans, if their payment is $200, and let's say they decide, oh, I'm making good money, I'm going to pay $400. Do you know what the extra $200 goes towards on most loans?
Interest.
Mm-hmm.
Damn right.
Yeah.
I had a huge argument, and it would have gotten a lot more heated if I wasn't dealing with the government yesterday. And yes, I did pretend that I was talking for my son. However, they cannot logically explain to me why my payment that is extra than what he's. And she goes, well, it's the same as a car loan. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you out right now. Bullshit. I said, if I have a car loan payment that's $200 and I'm paying you $300 a month, where's the extra $100 going to? She goes, interest. I go, bullshit. It's going towards principal. And that's what it should be. I go, you all are screwing kids that graduate and take money in good faith from the government by not allowing them to pay down their interest, their principal. And I said, You say there's no prepayment penalty, but there is.
It's that.
And that's the sad part that
Yeah.
I'm starting to learn as a parent that's trying to help out your kid.
And they don't know to ask that question or advocate for it.
No.
They don't even know.
They
how
don't
to read
know.
a
And
statement.
this lady was like, I'm probably dealing with the smartest 23-year-old. No, I'm not smart. I've just been around the block numerous times. I got a house. I got cars. I know how loans work, lady. And whatever you're telling me is bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
You know, $200 is one thing. Like I've seen graduates that have payments over 5,000.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Can you imagine?
The best day of my life was, besides marrying my wife, honey, was paying off my student loans. I mean,
I still haven't paid mine off.
yeah. I mean,
The math wasn't mathing. We had such a great interest rate.
We got like 1.8%.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
We got free money, dog.
Basically.
Yeah, I'm playing the game because I knew it last time. I screwed up and I consolidated at once and got screwed on an interest rate. So I'm just playing the game right now. I'm playing the game and I'm going to consolidate for him when it's time. But yeah,
this is the stress that our young dentists feel.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, and they're super wise and they have access to information, but they still don't know what they haven't encountered inside of it. Like I feel for them. And when we aren't willing to talk about it and when we're just first, most of us aren't actually committed to their development as dentists either, because we know how to do great dentistry. That doesn't mean we know how to develop a good dentist. Two totally different skills, right? It's like, I mean, it's like it's a lot of times the great coaches weren't even players. Like, explain that. You can be a great coach, but not be a great player. Those skills are not the exact same. You can have somebody that was a great player and they don't become a great coach. And so it's the same way with doing great dentistry and developing great dentists. So even if we develop great dentists, you know, let's just be honest too about none of us got into this industry because like we are here because we expected a great life from being dentists. We all know it's true, right? Yeah. If we expected to live like paupers, nobody would have nobody suffers the interactions with our patients. In fact, that's why a lot of people try to get out is because it's not worth, the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Right.
And so we have a responsibility not just to care for the next generation as being great dentists, but also like getting what they expected. But the fact is, many of us aren't getting what we expected. So it's like blind leading the blind in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you didn't even mention the fact that they did 3 crowns before they graduated. So not only did they spend all that money, they're just really not well equipped, and they know it. I mean, I'm not saying anything that they're not very familiar with the reality of. Now they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars crash coursing Spear, COIS, all the extra programs to try to get some type of education they feel like they can apply chairside, especially if they're not in a mentor relationship where they can't work with their dentist or associate, or they're in a large DSO group practice. They don't have anybody they can lean in on. They need some type of support clinically for decision making. And even if it's just an attaboy, or even if it's just a you should dismiss this patient. Like sometimes they just need the cojones from somebody else to say, go do the thing that your gut is telling you to do. It's okay to feel that way.
Yeah, no, we have this I was going to say, just like as dentists, we have this psychological like conundrum we're in. We think that we have to like supplicate and win the heart. We're looking for approval. Let's just be honest. We are in an industry where we know most of the population doesn't actually like us. And a lot of them are just fine telling us they don't like us. Oh, like, sweetie, I hate my, well, okay, thank you. I appreciate hearing that.
I don't hate you, but I
and
just
some will
don't
even
like
say, I hate you.
Yeah.
And, you know, so like, I can understand why we're just fighting for people's approval. So you don't think I can get rid of this patient,
yeah.
you know?
So question, you bring up a really good point, and I'm gonna pause for a second, and I want us to go, JB, you're far right, you're going first, Eric, you're going second, and I'll go third. And we have 3 different pathways in dentistry here, okay? 3 very different pathways. But I want to ask, are you getting what you expected out of dentistry, and why or not why? Or why yes or why no? Maybe I should say that. So JB, go first.
Gosh, that's a really challenging question.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a
no,
fantastic one to ask. So I'm going to ask.
Can we cry while we answer?
Yeah.
We can. But it has to be like crocodile tears and like really just, I mean, you got to get into it. It's got to be comedic as if you ask it.
So I
It-
think
it is your-
I think if I mean I've had much like Eric, I've had a lot of turns, particularly in the last 6 years. I think if some of the turns hadn't happened, I would be very unhappy, incredibly unhappy in my current situation. The opportunity to podcast and teach dentists and be in communities with others outside of my practice probably is the number one reason why I keep showing up on Monday, because the compression of staffing and insurance and all the things that make you incredibly disillusioned from Monday through Friday of why, to your point, Eric, is it worth the squeeze anymore? And honestly, if you'd asked me in 2019, 2018, I would have said this is a great profession. It's hard and I work really hard for it, but the money is good, the practice is thriving, everybody's happy. Like, and then 2020 definitely changed the paradigm 100%. And I don't feel like it's the same. I guess when you've known it was so great and then you've seen the other side and it's not what it used to be. If dentistry hadn't allowed me to evolve into a new version of myself and utilizing different parts of my skill set and mental capacity to do that, I probably would be gone, I think, at this point, just because it would be too wearing. I don't think psychologically I could hold up.
Mm.
So
Eric?
Good answer, Jennifer Bell. My answer is nuanced. I have a really great life. I was able to retire from clinical practice really quickly. I didn't practice full time for 5 years. I practiced full time for not even 5 years. I was able to retire from the profession at 39. That's not like, how can I complain? And yet I didn't get my validation, Chad, from dentistry, from the act of doing dentistry on patients. I had to find my validation in other skills that I had to develop. So what dentistry gave me the ability to do that. Dentistry gave me the ability to learn that I was able to have that success because I was able to develop great dentists and support them and like help them get what they wanted. And so dentistry indirectly gave me what I wanted. I love still the feeling. I loved the feeling of doing dentistry, but it was freaking hard, man. I ran away from dentistry afterwards, Chad. I have years of my journey since I sold my group that I like didn't touch dentistry at all. Like didn't even serve it. I didn't even want to. I was scared of it. And yet now I have a very different perspective. So I guess the story that I would say, Chad, in a roundabout way, dentistry has been extraordinarily good to me. And yet I also took a path less taken.
mm-hmm.
Chad, to you.
So I'm going to say that I think I got what I expected and more. I was
We're just
blessed.
losers, Eric.
No. But you were too. You don't realize it. I chose dentistry because I worked for an amazing woman when I was in high school. And I was like, this lady goes to work every day. She's smiling. She works 4 freaking days a week. How cool is that, And she does stuff with her hands that people can't do, and her patients love her, and she has these conversations. And the thing is that as my career has progressed, I mean, I was fortunate enough to be able to become a dentist. I mean, that's half the battle. We all were. I mean, we're one of the few, the proud, the many, the dentists, right? I mean, we were fortunate enough to be able to get into dental school. And I know there's people that get out there and they don't like clinical dentistry. There's days that I don't. There were days when I started that I was miserable. And it wasn't because I was a crappy dentist or, it was just because of the shit that hit me that day or whatever, And there were times that after I got out that I questioned what I was doing, and I pivoted, and I found things that I enjoy doing. And then the one thing that really immersed me back in dentistry is when I started learning from my mistakes, the shit that went wrong. I read a book by Simon Sinek that says start with why. And I talk about this all the time. JB knows this, and she's probably rolling her eyes right now, but it was like, why did this go wrong? Why did I have these issues? I'm going to dive into this and figure out why this went wrong and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Over the past 10 years, dentistry's really blessed me. I mean, I've got this awesome podcast that I'm a part of. I get to deal with awesome people like you. I get to make decisions in dentistry or help people make decisions in dentistry that just really are powerful. But in the end, it's been a wonderful and rewarding profession that's allowed me to provide for my family and have a pretty damn nice life. But the flip side of it is, I get it. I get it that people think that dentistry sucks. Clinical dentistry sucks. That's what I'm going to tell you. Maybe they think that clinical dentistry sucks. And that's why there's people like Eric Roman that can come in and maybe change your mindset and realize that whether we want to practice with our hands in people's mouths or out of people's mouths, Eric, you're a damn good dentist. You help people become damn good dentists.
I'm a damn good dentist maker.
Well, yeah, you are. That's what you are. But there is life outside of clinical dentistry within the profession of dentistry. And that's kind of where I was headed.
Yeah.
We have 3 different ways of preaching what we learned.
Yeah.
And, if you're struggling in your practice, seek out somebody like Eric to help you figure out if clinical dentistry is the path for you, or if you need to look elsewhere. And that's okay. We still love you. There's a lot of room in dentistry for a lot of people. So that's where I was headed with that. Sorry.
No, I love that, Chad. You know what I heard you say inside of that? And here's what I've learned. Everything's hard, guys. Like
everything. If you want to be good at it, it's hard.
Do you know what? When I exited my company in 2019, I had a really nice big fat bank account. I mean, if I didn't spend so much dang money, I would not need another dollar for the rest of my life. And do you know what? In 90 days, I was miserable because I had more problems that I didn't know, new problems. Do you know all I wanted while I was in dentistry was to not deal with dentistry problems? I don't want another server to blow up. I don't want another Gina to call me at 2 a.m. I don't want any of that crap. Get me away from that. And then in less than 90 days, I had traded all the problems that I knew for problems that I knew and that I generally had figured out how to solve. I just didn't like them. Then I traded them for problems that I did not know and that I did not have any clue how to solve. And you know what I wanted? I wanted my freaking dental problems back. And it's the grass on the other side of the fence. When you go over there, you look back and you're like, well, that grass wasn't as bad as I thought it was. If I just fertilized my own freaking yard and mowed it, it wouldn't have been so ugly. And so and that's actually a lot of that's what my job is when I'm dealing with young associates, or any associates. I find that 20%, I call it 20, 60, 20. 20% of the dentists, Chad, are you. In that you see the problem, you encounter it, you know what you want, and you can walk to the solution. You figure out how to solve the problem. And unfortunately, Chad, that's only the top 20% that can do that by themselves. The bottom 20% don't even give a crap. They say, screw this, screw everything. I hate you. It's your fault. I'm out. I don't want to learn. I don't want to train. I don't even want to solve my own problems. I just want to be a succodonis, right? And then the 60% in the middle, they don't know how to get there. They might want more for their lives, but they're not willing to follow through. They have a low degree of personal accountability. They don't know the pathway. The 20% at top, you just show them, hey, could you do this? And they're like, oh my gosh, I did it and I crushed it and I did it even better. the majority of our industry, Chad, doesn't have that skill that you're talking about. Just that this is the majority of the dentists in the United States of America right now don't have the ability to just solve the problem the way you just talked about being able to do it. And it's incumbent on us in the industry to be able to help, or else like we all look bad because their reputation reflects on all of us. Is there any reason, like, we all have seen the data, how societal trust in the dentist has continuously degraded to where we're not even in like the top 30 most trusted professionals. They trust their plumber more than they trust us in this day and age. Is there any wonder that as the percentage of associate dentists have increased, societal trust has decreased? It's because, like, I mean, it's not anybody's fault, but we sure as heck have to solve it, or else we got a really big problem on our hands, you know? And so, man, I so see you inside of that. You're nailed it, Chad. Look at you nailing it, Chad.
Well, you know, the thing is that the biggest problem in life is that when a problem happens at my office, I even have a t-shirt for my team members, because when they ask me a question, I say, did you turn it off, let it sit, and turn it back on again?
Did you try Control Alt Delete?
Yeah.
All kidding aside,
It's true.
that's life, man.
Yeah, man.
If you're having a crappy series of events, go on a vacation. It doesn't have to be to Italy or Croatia or Greece or wherever. It could be to your own freaking backyard.
Yep.
Or it could be to Starbucks down the street. Turn it off, reset, start again. That's life.
Those
technology teaches us about life.
Like that's it's like you're so right, and yet we don't have those skills natively. We need you, Chad, to teach us, like, to have that ability to be able to do it in a healthy manner. You know,
do you want my CV? I can send it to you. I can be CDO of your corporate CD. I'm good. We're good.
You're just chief of my heart. That's where you start. COH, chief of heart. You know though, the other thing with associates when they run into the problem, Chad, do you know what they say though? Is they say, this is not my problem. This is your problem. This is your assistant that you hired is making bad temporaries for me, Chad. Fix that crap. And like, do you know, dentistry is a leadership career. Associates have been trained not to lead. You don't spend $500,000. Dentistry is leadership. We are leading our patients to health. We are leading our teams to great care. We are leading our businesses to profitability. Like, if you don't lead those things, you fail. And yet we have fallen victim. You know who it was? It was all, like, we all did this. Do you know what the DSOs said? Is they said, just sign up, show up and do great dentistry. We'll take care of the rest. Bull crap. That's the biggest lie ever. You can't just show up and everybody else you have to lead. And so when we got to this abdication of responsibility, I'm an associate. I don't need to know about how that works with the phone calls. I don't have to understand how hygiene actually operates. This is not my, I don't do the huddle. It's not for me. Like, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. And so, you know what's funny? It's like, you know, the other thing that we've been trained, if you guys don't mind, I'm on my soapbox now.
Let's go.
Love it. I love it. You get on your soapbox.
Chad, we think all this, we were trained in dental school that solutions in dentistry are clinical in nature.
They're not.
80% is actually behavioral. It is let me say it a different way. Everything's case acceptance. If you don't get the patient to say yes, you don't get to do the crown. If you suck at case acceptance, you do no procedures or fun procedures or the procedures you want to do. What do we know about the best dentists in the world? They're freaking masters at case acceptance.
Yeah.
And case acceptance has never been clinical. No patient accepted your treatment because of your crown margins, because they can't see them and they don't even know what they are. They accepted because of your behaviors. And like, what we have discovered, our entire program for associates is behaviors. It is like, there are Listen, if continuing education was the problem, we wouldn't have a problem. We've got great freaking CE. Look at you guys and what you've been doing around this country. You guys aren't failing. We're failing on the behavioral side before we get there. And we see it every single day. I ask dentists, like, should you address your patient by their name and introduce yourself by name? Yeah, absolutely. I should do that. Should you find out why the patient's actually here in their terms and what they want? Yeah, absolutely. Should you do a great handoff to your team member? Should you come up with a single clear plan for your patient? Yes, yes, yes. I've recorded using AI over 50,000 dentist patient interactions. And when I ask dentists, I ask the associates, hey, on a scale of 0 to 5 on those basic things I just talked about and a few more equally basic things that everybody says, it's common sense, Eric. It's common sense. Of course we should do that. How do you do, doctor? I'm probably a 4 out of 5. That's what 90% of dentists say. And then I say, okay, well, did you know I just listened to like your last month of conversations? What do you think the data says? Well, maybe I'm a 2.5 or a 3 because I get busy. Do you guys know what the score is? 0 to 5. Come on, guess. What do you think?
Only because you set me up.
0.5. Point frickin' 5. 0.5 to 0.8 covered the majority of dentists. Guys, and when I show the dentists their data, they're like, well, they can listen to the conversation. You walked in, you didn't say hi. You said, let's lean you back were your first words to a new freaking patient. Let's lean you back. And they're like, well, I was really busy that day. Sweetheart, your data says you did that 7 times, like that day and every day during the week. Come on, people. The bar is, guys, we don't have a clinical problem in our industry.
No.
We have a behavioral problem. Our dentists, and guys, it's not just, we can blame associates. It's not just them.
No.
You know, we're guilty. We do it too.
I will tell you, Eric, I'm glad you highlighted that because I sit through courses as a student. I teach courses as a teacher. Consistently, questions are, yeah, but how do you get a patient to do this? You know, so it's a very consistent theme amongst all doctors, and they can be owners, associates. They fit all walks of life. The communication and behavioral components, the charisma to be able to walk into a room, meet a patient where they are, see them, and help them pursue a pathway to health is not intuition for everybody. And so there is role play. There are scripts. There are things to help them understand and not be afraid to talk about the things that maybe they dance around a little bit. And anyway, so I'm glad you validated that because that is definitely a consistent theme that I see both as a student and as a teacher that's definitely lacking a lot in the space. Okay.
Yeah.
Elephant number 2 in the room. Why are you here for Curve?
Golly. Curve and I built a great relationship over the years. They do an incredible job.
Great company.
You know, they are. They're just,
I know.
You know, everything rises and falls on leadership. And, you know, they've done an incredible job with leadership. They have sustained and continue. And you know what? People gave them a hard time for a while because there wasn't a ton of shift in the product because it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And yet Curve has been wisely innovating in places that other people don't see. Like, you know, when we're talking about security in this day and age, we were talking about that on the side before we got on our call. Like, security in the modern era is like, it's one of the scariest things that we have to deal with. And like, they've innovated where other people haven't. And so I've just loved my relationship with Curve, and they do an incredible job. And I mean, and by the way, I will never tell you there's ever a perfect solution for everybody will tell you every practice management system has its stuff. But like, when you make that decision, you just got to have somebody that you can trust and that you can count on to continue innovating and doing the work that needs to be done. That's why I love them. You know, if you want perfection, you're going to be searching for the rest of your life.
That's
but
right.
If you want people you can trust to lean against, you find a great company like that.
And you can't beat the accessibility. You know, you don't have to have multiple pieces of technology to be able to get access to your data and be able to manage records, work on charts, whatever it is you need to do at any time of the day and anywhere. You could be on
Visually
that
native on your phone. Yep.
self-prescribed vacation that Chad said, and you could still technically log in and check in every now and then just to make sure that the damn thing didn't explode while you were
Chad
gone.
can look at the x-ray and prescribe from the third hole, and it's like
exactly.
Hey, I
did today.
He probably did.
I did that from Italy
Mhm.
3 years ago, and that was huge. And that's where Curve was a huge player for me. And I'm not bragging because I went to Italy, because it took everything
like
that
it a
I
little
had,
bit.
every set of points that I had, and everything, because I couldn't afford it.
Little
But no,
braggy.
Curve was huge.
Yeah.
As I mean, we are way over, and that's okay, because Eric, I need you for 5 minutes after the show, and that's it.
All right.
But as we close tonight, I'm
Austin's asking for, really quick, the producer is asking for another vacation.
Yeah. Austin can kiss my ass.
They're on the same
I love
page.
him. He's my son, but he can kiss my ass. He's on his own now, and he needs a job. Besides this, Eric, I want to thank you so much. And for those out there that don't know Eric, please, we will post in the show notes Eric's information. He's a huge asset to dentistry. He's a huge asset to whatever you want to say.
Hey, I put the ass in ass.
He's a freaking incredible guy. I've known Eric for a while, not as long as JB, but Eric is an incredible guy. We thank you. We thank Curve. Curve has done a lot for dentistry. And if you're thinking of a company that you want to work with, my biggest word is innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Curve is constantly innovating as to what they can do to improve our experience. And so thank you to Curve. Thank you to Eric. Find out if dentistry is meeting your expectations or not, because if it isn't, you need an Eric. But maybe you need to figure out how it really is. And that's the most important part, because if you can't, then you need an Eric as well. But Eric, thank you. Any closing comments from you as we finish the show?
I've always got closing comments. Relative to Curve and innovation, if you think you've seen innovation, wait till you see the stuff that's coming next. Hold on to your pantalones. Like, if you've seen the pipeline,
Unlike that lady at the ortho office.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on to your pantalones.
Unlike the lady at the ortho.
Hold your britches by the belt buckle.
That's what we call coming full circle, team.
Yeah.
And like, relative to me, if you're sitting there and asking the question of how you can be successful, either getting you out of the chair or growing your practice, whether it's your first associate or your 50th, like dental associate growth, we're the only people in the world doing what we do. And we make it easy. We make it so freaking easy for you to be just as great at that as you have been at being a great, healthy, successful dentist. So that's where we live. And for just both of you guys, like, it's been such a joy, your friendship, and just to be able to watch the impact that you've continued to have. Keep rocking, Dinks.
You too.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man. As always.
Night, everybody.
Good to see you.